Hey folks, welcome back to the show. It's me, your pal, DJ Mike P, here with another new episode of the Workplace Innovator podcast and another new guest, a book author, a workplace and human being expert. I'll call him that. I don't know if he's going to want to accept that title of expert, but I've had a little bit of a chat with him here before clicking record, and I cannot wait to have this discussion. But first, let me say, please, if you're not already a subscriber, please smash that like button and click subscribe on YouTube as we are sharing these conversations now on full video. You get to see us live in color on video. And the person I am chatting with today is joining us from north of the border, everybody, in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. He is an author. We're going to talk about his new book, and we'll talk about his work as president and founder of Brivia, which is a consulting firm helping you build better. And we've already connected on the philosophy about human beings and our role in the workplace and in life. And he's going to tell us all about his perspective and what he has learned through his research. Everybody, please welcome Stephen Groot. Stephen,
all right.
Welcome to the Workplace Innovator podcast.
Thanks, Mike. You know, I think I'd rather be a human behavior enthusiast versus an expert. I'm really excited about, I know a lot of stuff, but I think people know a lot of stuff too, right? So I'm an enthusiast. I love people. I love making people's lives better, both in work and out of work. And I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me here, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you, Stephen. It's great to chat with you just briefly before clicking record. I do have so much in common with what you are trying to share and inspiring my audience of facility management, corporate real estate, and workplace leaders to be just that, leaders. And I know you believe that we're all leaders, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, I changed the definition of leader. I mean, there's just as many definitions of leadership as there are people trying to define it, right? That's, I believe. Sure. I'm trying to figure out whose quote that is. It'll come to me. But I think what's interesting is if you're committed to developing somebody, supporting someone's success or their well-being or their growth, you're a leader. Like I really truly believe that. And I think there's a lot of leaders out there, right? And I think if you're committed to other humans succeeding, growing, getting stronger, better at something that they're passionate about, I'd put you in the leadership category. Yeah, right away.
I would too. Yeah. And that's what I'm all about. I think everybody, regardless of their role, has a role to play in our journey together as human beings. And in my particular podcast, we talk about it in the sense of being workplace leaders and workplace innovators. And I wonder, you do a lot of these shows, Steve. You do a lot of podcasts, a lot of videos, a lot of speaking at events. When you heard you were going to be a guest on the Workplace Innovator podcast, what came to mind for you? What does it take to be innovative today?
Yeah, well, I like that you're actually innovative, that you're diverse, that you actually think differently. And, you've got great questions. You've got great guests. I think, this idea of innovation in humans excites me because as humans, we're the greatest innovators. We are like wired to adapt, to grow, to learn in real time. Like by the time we're done listening to this great episode, we'll have changed, right? We'll have adapted. We'll have learned something new. And I think when I heard about coming here, I was just excited to meet you and excited to talk about whatever came up, right? And I think for those people listening, to think of innovation as just simply growth, right? Growth and adaptation and learning. And so in the workplace, oh my gosh, I mean, we've got to adapt now. We've got to innovate now because humans aren't doing as well in the workplace overall. Like there's a lot of us working wounded, I would say. We'll keep it positive. But the reality is, I think innovation is something we should be talking about more, right? And it's more than, thinking outside the box. I mean, if that's, it's the most, when you ask somebody about innovation, they'll say, it's about thinking outside the box. And that's about as far as it goes. I'm like, well, I think we need to innovate a little bit more, like innovate that definition somewhat.
Constantly evolving and adapting, as you said, and technology plays a role. We're going to talk about all of it. And I really appreciate you sharing some of your wisdom that you have already shared. And I'll right up front here, tell everybody to get a copy of your book, Steve. It's called Getting to Better, a new model for elevating human potential at work and in life.
Yeah.
Exciting title, exciting content. I haven't read it. I'll be honest. What will I find if I open up a copy?
That's okay. I say to people, no pressure to get to it or get through it. I mean, a lot of people say, Steve, hey, it's nice to meet you. I didn't get the book yet. It's only been out for 4 months. it really is. It was designed like the 30 years of research, like 30 years of work on it, 15 years of validating it and affirming it, and 5 years of writing it with some really talented, smart, big heart people. And we've got two things in it. We've got work and we've got life. One of them better be going well, right? Sure. So this book is really about getting to better, not the best, not perfect. I don't know what those things are. And it's really about, validating and affirming what you're doing well as a human being, and what you might need to consider to do differently, to either think or feel differently, or even more importantly, behave differently at work, as a parent, as a coach, as a leader, as a teacher. Yeah, that's what the book is about. And it's actually pretty comprehensive. I know there's a lot of books out there with that title, like just like innovation is a buzzword, potential,
Sure.
unlocking potential, all this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, are we not like clickbaited and cheapskated enough? But this book comes with a core promise, like a promise to elevate your potential and the potential of the people around you.
Sure. And there are a lot of books that talk about this topic, and a lot of podcasts that talk about the workplace. Yep. But I think we've come together here, Steve, united in a unique way, in the sense that we have a philosophy. We each have a philosophy that aligns in hoping to empower and encourage and give everybody that North Star, the vision towards the fact that they can make a difference in their world of the workplace. And my audience specifically, as they're caring for the physical built environment and the design and the amenities and the health and well-being that comes from having a safe and productive place to bring yourself and bring your skill set. That's what it's all about. We're going to talk about all of it here in a second, and I'm sure you can pull some things from your book to help my audience do that better. But you said you were up for anything, right?
I'm up for anything. I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
I shared with you that, as my audience knows, I'm known here as DJ Mike P because of my love of music, and I can't wait to hear what inspires you in the way of either musical artists or types of music, genre. We're both kind of the same age, it seems. I think we're coming from the same place musically. Tell me.
Yeah, I love all types of music. It's like emotion, right? Like the thing I love about music is, there's music for every mood. And, on any given day, I'm a big Canadian, of course, I'm a Canadian music fan as well. So
gotta be
good
proud.
Old Bare Naked Ladies, but the Tragically Hip is one of my favorite bands, The Watchmen from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. But I'm a big fan
on
of
a tour
Jack
right
White.
now.
Yeah,
Rush.
Yeah,
I was going to say Rush is making your country proud.
Yeah.
Back in action and sounding better than ever. With the tribute to Neil Peart, but with a new drummer, Annika. She's doing great.
Yeah. So I'm also a big fan of Jack White. Lately, he's topping my charts, but also some of the classics like Led Zeppelin and Van Halen and Journey. Who doesn't like the classics?
You're speaking my language.
I'm
Steve.
also into the bass and R&B and you name it. Like I think you
play bass.
Depending, no, I do play an acoustic guitar. Because I used to sing in bands, a couple of bands, and was in a lot of tenor honors choirs and things like that. So I'm a first tenor, by the way. So for anybody who sings, you probably know what that is for the small group.
Yeah, first tenor.
Yeah.
Well, you're ahead by a century, as the Tragically Hip would say.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I've probably got the hip on play on some device almost all the time. Yeah.
Well, sometimes we break into some bad podcast karaoke. My voice is not great, but I love to be inspired. And you've mentioned a number of bands that would do that. Jack White, of course, the classic walk-up song. Everybody knows it. Dun, 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 dun. Boom,
Seven Nation Army. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
I won't try to sing that one because it's very distorted and highly technically altered.
Yeah.
I won't put you on the spot. You said you're a good singer. I wouldn't make you sing Journey. Don't stop believing.
I don't think my mic settings set up to do any karaoke.
Well, again, I think I told you we could spend the whole time talking about music, but I will get back to the topic of your book and the workplace. And before we do, though, I always like to inspire the audience through quotes. Do you have a favorite motivational quote you could share?
Yeah, I have tons of them. Today I'm thinking about, since you're an innovator yourself, one of my favorite quotes this week, because I have lots of them, is simplicity is the greatest form of sophistication. Right? And that's Da Vinci. right? One of the greatest minds, one of the greatest inventors. And I think as humans, we have complicated things so much. We've literally, like, humans are complex, but we're not complicated. And I think if we can simplify things like, connection in the workplace, clarity in the workplace, a personal sense of agency, control in the workplace, like, just simplify it. One of the biggest things right now I'm hot on is values in the workplace, right? I mean, this is one of the biggest things I think is demoralizing people, is that, we invite people to work at our places of employment. We tell them that respect is important and integrity is important, yet we're cutting corners and we're yelling at people, or we're, kind of catching them off guard. And I think, let's make it simple. Did you put that value on the wall? Okay, well, let's behave in a way that aligns with that. I mean, it doesn't sound that complicated, right? But we get a lot of, you don't get all the, the dipping and diving and dodging, dodgeball.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right. You alluded to it, though. It's not just about putting the sign on the wall and saying, this is what we believe. This is our culture. This is our motto. This is our mission. It's acting it out. It's behaving in a way that aligns with that philosophy. Yep. And that is something that my audience is sensitive to and wants to be a part of. So how do we do it, Steve? Help us get there. Help us be better leaders in that regard.
Well, that's one of the things I do individually, but even at scale. Like, we work with some pretty big organizations with Brivia, and I'm also working with some educators that are doing like global transformation of education, and the recipe is the same. There's actually 3 steps. It's actually 3 steps. I like 3s, maximum 5, right? Like, let's keep it simple. But number 1 is you identify the word that's important, whether that's respect, integrity, or innovation, because innovation is not only a goal, it's a value. Right. And I worked for some crown corporations where they said, we're innovative, yet their approval process is 26 steps. That's
a little too complicated.
That doesn't sound innovative. Like, you may want to check the definition. And the second thing, so the first one is identify the value. Step 2 is develop a shared understanding. So if we choose respect, well, what does that mean? It's like consideration of someone's well-being. It's kindness. It's, you can throw in a couple other values words, and then you choose the behaviors of that value in practice, right? Whether it's in the boardroom or in the staff room or when we have a conflict. And I think if we did that more often, we're joking about a quick solution, right? Like, people say, well, there's no quick solutions. I'm rethinking that. I think if everybody, a parent, a teacher, a leader, or a coach, looked at the words that they have on the wall, or in the boardroom, living room, or in the change room, and they aligned their behavior with it, I bet you we would feel a tectonic shift tomorrow. Things would just be so much better, because most of our problems, if you think about discipline issues, they're not competency issues in the workplace. Most of them are values issues.
Tell me more about that.
People choose to show up late. People choose not to have an agenda ready. People choose not to follow up with a patient or a client when we agreed that focusing on their strengths is important, yet we've never had an employee conversation about what they do well. Right. So these are what I call value incongruences. And at first they're disconcerting. It's like, it said respect, I didn't feel it. But after that goes on a longer time, it becomes disillusioning. And what we're seeing, I think, currently now is demoralization. I think a huge part of burnout is people are expected to work in places that are incongruent with what we promised them we would behave, like, aligned with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that there's a lot of assumptions being made, a lot of things not being said, that communication is faulted. It's not, that's not the word. Communication is not happening. We talk a lot in this show about, the role of the office and gathering and coming together and collaborating. But if your leaders are not aligning those words and those ideals with the actual behaviors that come along with it and not communicating the value, you've alluded to this. Tell me more about how we can better share that vision, that value as leaders, and then live it out.
Yeah. Well, I think as a leader, it's like keeping things simple, right, is just getting feedback on your leadership, right? Like, a lot of people have a hard time asking for feedback or getting accurate feedback. But again, if we have 3 messages for our people: 1, I want to be a better leader. 2, I value you and I want your success. And 3, I want to have a better working relationship with you. So again, I like 3s, right? 3. And if I told you that as my employee and I behaved in a way that was congruent with that, you'd feel safe enough to give me feedback. Right. So I think that's one of the things it's critical is, and I'm just going to clear my voice for a second.
Yeah. No, keep
there we go.
Use your water supply.
Yeah,
we'll take
my
a
water
pause
supply.
and take a cheers.
We're keeping it real, right? Cheers.
We're keeping it real with our water.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing that we do at scale with organizations is, I can't tell the difference, Mike, between somebody who doesn't care and somebody who doesn't know how to do it. It looks the same.
Yeah.
It looks the same. Right. So the first step is give people the knowledge and the tools and let them demonstrate what they're capable of. 2 steps.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think with leadership, it really comes down to, in the workplace, do we have a shared language and do we behave in a way that is congruent with what we say is important?
I like that.
Right.
Yeah. And you are describing a lot of the things that we talk about here, but we also try to give practical guidance and advice when it comes to the workplace itself, the physical built environment and the culture. We've alluded to it already. Yep. What are your thoughts on that? And it's not about, this or that and black or white and, come into the office or work from home. Those are the simplified, simplistic views that don't take into account the complexity of our current world and human behavior and this hybrid life we're living and this integrated life. It's not just about this workplace and the work we do. It's about our personal lives. It's about our, energy levels. It's about all these things that allow us to achieve great things and be productive. And I think all my audience members are at this point much beyond that whole return to office versus work from home argument. So with that nuance in mind, how do we keep it simple? Because it can get complicated if every individual person listening to us has a different need. How do we address that?
Well, this might sound cliche, but it's about trust, right? Come on. I mean, there's some work from essential services like hospitals. You need to be there. A lot of organizations are saying you need to work at work because A, we're paying for it, and B, we don't trust you. Right.
That's true. Yeah,
we have to have an honest conversation. Is this really about being at work? What difference would it make for us to be there? So let's move away from that. But every topic, this is it. Do our leaders have I call it 3 things. Do they have the confidence, capability, and calm to have the conversations that they need to have? Right. You said it earlier. Communication is an issue. Like we're communicating, but we're not communicating with the right people. So you and I, we've been at a meeting. We look at each other across the room. We know we need to say to this person what we're feeling, but we don't. We go and have a beer or a coffee, and then we talk there. So we're talking about them, but we're talking without them. And I think that's a major problem. Again, feeling safe enough to say, hey, I've got feedback for you, or I need something more, or I was confused, right? So getting back to practical strategies, again, giving people the tools to have the conversations. We can't keep saying culture and communication, right? Because these 2 have been at the top 3, the list of for 40 years, right? Communication and culture in the top 3 concerns for organizations. We're still not getting it right. What are we missing? I think it's the specific tools and strategies. Right, which is what we do at Brivia. And, I'm not going to plug Brivia. I also offer some strategies in the book. And, one of the biggest things that I talk about, Mike, is do people know, we've heard of psychological safety. I'm working on a program that goes beyond psychological safety because it's not just about, I saw something on, posted on social media today. People don't speak up because they don't feel safe. No, that's one of the reasons, but people also don't speak up because they've not been given permission. They don't know what to say. They're still thinking it out. There's so many different reasons. So one of the things I talk about in the book and with Brivia is creating the 3 great states, which is safe. Do they feel safe? That's one aspect, but do they feel significant? Do they feel like they matter and that their voice matters? Because I'll tell you, when I feel like I matter and my voice matters, I don't sit there quiet. Right. Yeah. And the third one is, are they situated? Are they clear on, is this a predictable environment? Do they know what's going to happen next? Do they know the process for sharing? Do they know where it's going to go? Right. Can they predict? And when they feel safe, significant, and situated, those are the 3 conditions that we can create in our relationships and in our work environment where people actually show up. That's where potential is revealed. It's not unlocked. See, hidden potential is hidden. It's like saying hidden. All potential is hidden until it becomes performance. and then it's beautiful. Right. And I think we talk about these things, potential, resilience, and innovation, right? And when you really think about it, a lot of people that are using those words haven't really stopped to think, what are you really talking about? Right?
Yeah, it's really
so we need to get below the surface of that definition to go, what are you saying when you say that? And have a conversation about what does that mean? And more importantly, what does it look like? What does it look like when we work together?
It takes effort, right, Steve? It takes effort to make that connection as a leader, not just blast an email or have a meeting with the whole team, but those one-on-one interactions. We did it before we started this conversation. We had a little back and forth. We had a little fun, some laughs just to break the ice. And then we're here talking, and it makes it so much more meaningful. And it helps us as we're on this journey together. I can't believe I'm looking at the clock and the time is going by so fast. This has gone by in an instant. It always does when I'm having a great, engaging conversation with someone like you. Before we wrap up, I want to give you the chance to share one final piece of advice. You've already spread a lot of great insight and inspiration across this conversation so far. But what would you say as we head into the future of the workplace together?
Yeah, I would just say to every human listening, you're greater than you think you are. Your potential is not your performance. That who you are now is not who you can be. And you're better. You know, how you behave and how the people around you behave, whether it's your children or your teammates, they're actually much better than they know, right? And as a leader, as a parent, teacher, coach, if we create the conditions where they feel safe, significant, and situated, they will demonstrate who they are and what they're totally capable of. So I think that to let everybody know to think about your potential and not who you currently are, but who you can be, because you're greater than your current performance.
I love it. The book is called Getting to Better, a new model for elevating human potential at work and in life by Stephen DeGroot. Steve, this has been amazing. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for taking time to join me here on the Workplace Innovator podcast.
Thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure.
And we will build a 7-nation army by sharing this message. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. He
Great
finished
stuff.
actually the last.
Back.
Yeah, the last one. He was at the last because my girlfriend is the biggest Jack White fan. Like if he's in a city, she'll go to three of his concerts, right? And
okay, there you
go. And so in his last one, he finished with 7-Nation Army. It was Toronto, 2.5 hours show. It was crazy. He brought them all out. His latest album is pretty darn good.
He's a super talent. I love the conversation he had with my favorite band guitarist, The Edge from U2.
Oh,
and
that
was two guys talking, music and shop. Highly recommend that video if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But everybody, thank you for being here with us. For Steve and I, we really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, got something of value from it. If so, do us a favor and share this video or this audio podcast with a colleague or a friend, anyone who might like to join us as we continue here on our journey to encourage and inspire you to be a workplace innovator. Peace out, everybody.